Just for a few moments, think of the Supreme Lord who is ever shining in our hearts. Let us pray to Him to remove all our ignorance, to bestow peace and joy. Shanti Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Stapakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharmasvarupine Stapakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharmasvarupine Avatar Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namah. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma mridangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us bow down to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been discussing a topic, how we should be hopeful in our life. In the Gospel, Sri Ramakrishna has assured there is certainly hope, but one has to strive, one has to undertake spiritual disciplines in order to acquire knowledge and devotion. It is true in everyone's life, lot of events occur which bring sometimes pain, sometimes disappointment, and sometimes misery. It's all natural. Everyone's life, in some way or other, is loaded with all these things: pain, pleasure, opposites, heat and cold, happiness and misery. Nobody can avoid them. But then you have to face them. In order to face them, you must be hopeful. Hopeful attitude is very important to sustain your life. And it is so with respect to your activities in the world, it is much more so when it comes to spiritual life. So hope is very essential. We must be fully aware of cultivating and cherishing that quality in our mind. And last class we have spoken many things about the subject hope, and how mind is involved in this process, and real faith in God is very important. But you have to discipline the life in a proper way. It is not enough to deal with the surface of the mind. There are so many layers in the mind. It is said, mind is very powerful. We have that powerful mind in us. Everyone has it. It is not the ordinary mind which is powerful. Behind this mind, there is the Atman, which we frequently use in the Upanishads. The Atman. This Atman is the super mind. So when you go deep into the layers of the mind, you become face to face with the super mind, which is Atman. When Swami Vivekananda, the great exponent of Advaita philosophy, who gave the message of Vedanta in the West, when he said, whatever you think, you will become. If you have faith, you will succeed. What did he mean by that? He meant that you are always the Atman. As a seer, as a man of God, Swami Vivekananda saw very clearly that there is great strength behind everyone, and he felt pity that people are not aware of it. In order to make them aware of this truth, on account of his infinite compassion for the humanity, he took all the trouble to come to the West, to cheer up the people, to turn the people towards Vedanta, to show the way to the gold mine. He came. That is Vivekananda's personality. So he came to make people aware of this truth. There is that Atman, supremely strong. It is there in your heart. From that standpoint, he would say these things, though he spoke in popular language. Seeing clearly man's infinite possibilities, Swamiji said, if you have faith, you will succeed. Knowing that the Atman or God is behind everyone, he wanted to bring that out. And being a powerful, he would bring it out. His words were so powerful that he could give inspiration to lots of people. Long ago he said these things, but even now, if you read Swami Vivekananda's sayings, there is so much strength in every sentence, in every word, in every page. Where did that strength come from? How could he get that strength? And he says everyone has it. And he is fully aware of the truth. He knows that everyone has it. He knows it, but we don't know. He knows it, so he is always joyful. We don't know, so we are always suffering. We are always under some problems. So how did he get that strength? He got it from the knowledge of the self. He fully realized who he was. He fully realized the glory of Atman. Swamiji, in one of his speeches, we can see it in the complete works, there's a chapter called God in Everything. There he said, in life and death, in happiness and in misery, the Lord is equally present. The whole world is full of the Lord. Isha vasamidam jagat. Upanishad says, the whole world, whole universe is covered by the consciousness of God. Upanishad says that. And Swamiji has realized that. Sri Ramakrishna gave that experience to him. When he was in that state, he saw everything Brahman. This tumbler is Brahman, this door is Brahman, the window is Brahman, this wall is Brahman, everything is Brahman, everything around him is Brahman. There is nothing else but Brahman. He could not walk, he could not do anything in that consciousness. Everything is looking like ocean of consciousness. So he said, the whole world is full of the Lord. Open your eyes and see Him. Open your eyes. The words indicate how strongly he felt. When he said, open your eyes and see Him, he was very confident that God is always present, because we have forgotten the truth, because we are away from God, we are away from the truth, so we are always in some kind of misery. We feel very much elated when pleasures come. We feel equally depressed when misery comes. This is our life. Pleasures and pains, smiles and tears. But if we know that God is equally present on both sides, we don't succumb to depression so easily. Great help comes when we hear these things from a person who has realized truth completely or has known it to a great extent. So it is said, when you find a teacher, you get great help. You feel you are relieved from the burden of miseries. When we do spiritual practice, what will happen? we begin to get in touch with God. Or our belief that God is all powerful increases. Lord Christ said to a disciple who had lost faith, He said, with men it is impossible, but not with God. For with God all things possible. That is the statement of Lord Christ. As we do our spiritual practice, that conviction begins to come. Otherwise, we may hear these things or read them in the Bible, but they will have no effect on our lives. When we do spiritual practice, that faith begins to come. So building up the faith is one of the results of our spiritual disciplines. As you keep on doing properly, you feel how tremendous faith has bloomed in our heart. You feel highly energetic and feel extremely confident. What is spiritual practice? One's teacher will ask one to repeat the name of God or to meditate in a particular way, and before that the teacher will see whether the person has potentialities and whether he can bring out his potentialities. Even if our potentialities have not come to the surface, when we practice ethical virtues, when we do unselfish work, our self-centeredness becomes less and less, and our spiritual unfoldment begins. The self-centeredness must go. You have to become selfless in order to have the experience of the truth. Then we find that there is so much power in the divine name. These names of God, as well as other forms of spiritual practice, have been tested and found to be true. They are not simply words. They are all mystical. If you repeat those mantras wholeheartedly, honestly, sincerely, you will realize the mystic nature of the mantra. If you follow the directions, we get the results. Following the directions is very important. We fail because we don't follow instructions properly. But at the same time, we keep on telling, oh, I am not making any progress. I have lived here 30 years. Nothing is happening to me. It is true, nothing will happen even if you live 100 years. It's not how many years you are living. It is in what manner you are living that is important. You are living here 30 years. What 30 years you did? Sleeping, eating, drinking, chatting. This kind of life, even if you live 1,000 years, you will be same. Unless you give proper attention to what you are doing, what you are thinking, how can you expect good results? And it is so arranged that everyone has to earn it to get anything. You have to struggle and get it. You have to knock the door and open. Don't expect somebody to open the door and somebody should drag you inside. When we become unsteady, we must remember that some persons, if not many, got the results In this way, we should try to keep up our morale. Keeping up morale is important. That means you should not lose hope. Another way is to study scriptures. When we study the scriptures, we find many directions given there. For instance, if you take Gita and Upanishads, you find so many instructions. Positive instruction. Do like this. Even one single direction is enough for one's life. But there are so many directions. To take one example, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Maya Duratyaya. This ocean of Maya is very hard to cross. Lord Krishna himself admits that it is difficult to cross. He does not say it's easy. He knows it is difficult. But then he says, it is not impossible. It is difficult, but not impossible. When he says not impossible, that means there is hope. That means you must cherish hope. So in the next line, Lord Krishna says, Mameva ye prapadyante maya metam taranti te. That means, one who takes refuge in me, even though the Maya is so terrible and difficult, he will cross this ocean of Maya very easily. But you have to take refuge in God. But it is difficult so long as you think you are separate from God, as long as you try to live your existence separate from God. If you know that you have the least relationship with God, your courage will not give way. One fine method is to take down selected sayings which are helpful, hopeful and inspiring. Whenever moods of depression come in, and they are bound to come to everyone more or less, when you are in that state, what you should do? Immediately look into those sayings which you have noted down. If you memorize some of the teachings, these thoughts will automatically come to you at the hour of need. They will come on the surface of the mind to help you, to show you that God is not altogether dead. Thoughts of God will come on the surface of your mind and will give you a push. But real strength will come when we have realized the truth completely. It comes in either of the two ways. When we think we are one with the divine, or when we think we are absolutely nothing, we are zero. In both ways, we reach the ultimate reality. We have put a barrier between ourselves and God, so we are suffering. So we are losing hope. What is that barrier? It is the ego, ahankar. It is pinpointed. The cause of all your suffering is because of the ego. That means that must be uprooted. The flood tide would come, but we have put up a floodgate and locked it. This is our ego. If it is slackened even a little, then water begins to come, and as it continues to flow through the current becomes so strong when it continues to flow through. and it becomes so strong that floodgate is destroyed. You just little bit you allowed the water to come, it takes care the rest of the thing. So either we have to think that we are nothing, or we have to think that we are one with the divine. One of these attitudes begins to come in our spiritual life according to the way in which we do spiritual practice. They are not really separate. One will find that both attitudes come. With time, one will be able at home with both. They are not basically different. Both lead to the same result, the same God or Atman. Simply the ways are different. In either case, we get the result. So we must remember that moods of depression come in the life of everyone. No one is exception, so to say. Even great saints were not free from moods of depression at one time or another. At one time, Sri Ramakrishna also get into a sort of depression. Why? In spite of my wholehearted, one-pointed devotion and meditation and spiritual disciplines, yet I am not able to have the vision of the mother. What is this? The terrible anguish he was undergoing. But then it passed off. He got the vision of the Divine Mother. So, if you take the Vivekananda's life, the personification of strength, but in his letters we find that sometimes he was extremely depressed. When things did not go according to the way he liked. He wanted things to go in this way. If it doesn't happen that way, he would feel depressed. When he was working, he had his methods, he had his plans. When those plans were not succeeding, he would get desperate. Sometimes he would say to Ramakrishna, his guru, well, I have given up my work, I will no longer work for you. I have done enough work, I shall take holiday. Just like a child, he would talk as if he were fighting with Ramakrishna. At one time, success came more than he could dream. He was very much elated. He wrote a letter. I am such a rogue, Swami Vivekananda is writing. Even under such circumstances, my faith totters. Doubt comes into my mind. And he wrote to one who was like a disciple, know for certain there is a God, father or mother, who leaves you never, never alone. He is telling emphatically, God is always with you. With a person like Vivekananda, though the depression came, it was momentary thing. It comes usually in the course of the work. Earlier in his life, Swami Vivekananda also experienced depression, but that was a different type. When Ramakrishna was present, the disciples were safe. But after Ramakrishna passed away, they had to stand on their own feet to earn the realization themselves. That was necessary. One great saint said, when he was implored by a disciple to give him realization, that saint told him, well, I can give it to you, but you will not be able to keep it up. It is a law of nature, it is a law of spiritual life. What is the law? We must earn it. God could give realization to every one of us. So why does He withhold it? Why? Because He wants us to strive and earn it. Whatever might be in the mind of God, we find we can get nothing without striving for it. You have to strive. Swami Vivekananda was going through a state of depression after his master passed away. At that time he once said, I have seen ideal religion, I have seen ideal truth, but still my mind is in such a condition. A disciple of Vivekananda, who was very free with him and knew many things about him, he explained, for the time being, a cloud came into Vivekananda's mind and then it went away. The cloud did not last long. That's the difference between him and ordinary persons. But it's a lesson to us. It might have happened just to give a lesson to us so that we may not get into depression so easily. So you must, when the depressions come, don't become victim of depression. Don't succumb to it. On the other hand, hold on to God. Think of Him deeply. When you think of God, then the ray of hope is rekindled in your heart. As long as you're thinking of God, you have nothing to worry for anything. Let anything come, you should not bother. That kind of total surrendering to the Divine Spirit is important to maintain hopefulness. It's a spiritual quality. You have to achieve that hopefulness by steadily practicing spiritual disciplines systematically. And these depressions come in order to teach lesson to us. If everything goes according to what you want, then there is no question of bondage or freedom. The joy of freedom is there because of bondage. The joy of happiness is there because of misery. The joy of light is there because of darkness. The joy of knowledge is there because of ignorance. So, in order to highlight the glory of the divine, we see many things in this world. But if you are aware of the Atman, the Supreme God, God of the universe, He lives in your heart. But you are ignorant of it, so you are simply chasing unreal things. There's a particular deer called musk deer. Musk. It is extremely fragrant. I don't know whether you are aware of that. Musk. M-U-S-K. It's available in India. They make scent out of that. That musk, it is got from that particular deer. The smell is so intense, but the deer doesn't know that it is in itself. It is running after that, thinking it is somewhere else. Same thing. Though God is in us, we are running. He must be there. He must be in Europe. He must be in London. He must be in Germany. He must be in India. Go on running. Run. Then come to your own self. Oh, he is here only. I am searching everywhere. That's the truth. God is there, present, ever present in your heart. Supreme God, not the little God. You are not able to see because of the barrier, ego, ego. And that ego must be taken out. Then the Atman, son of Atman, shines. And you are in ecstasy. You get into samadhi. We shall stop. So you have to acquire hopefulness by undertaking spiritual disciplines. That's the conclusion. It won't come simply by magic. You must acquire it. Page number 579. It doesn't matter what kind of action you are engaged in, you can be united with God through any action, provided that performing it you give up all desire for its result. There is the other path, Mano Yoga. A yogi practicing this discipline does not show any outward sign. He is inwardly united with God. Take Jadabharata and Shukadev for instance. There are many other yogis of this class, but these two are well known. They shave neither hair nor beard. All actions drop away. When a man reaches the stage of the Paramahamsa, he always remembers the ideal and meditates on it. He is always united with God in his mind. If he ever performs an action, it is to teach men. A man may be united with God either through action or through inwardness of thought, but he can know everything through bhakti. Through bhakti, one spontaneously experiences kumbhaka. The nerve currents and the breathing calm down when the mind is concentrated. Again, the mind is concentrated when the nerve currents and breathing calm down. Then the buddhi, the discriminating power, becomes steady. The man who achieves this state is not himself aware of it. One can attain everything through bhakti yoga. I wept before the mother and prayed, "O mother, please tell me, please reveal to me what the yogis have realized through yoga and the jnanis through discrimination." And the mother has revealed everything to me. She reveals everything. If the devotee cries to her with a yearning heart, she has shown me everything that is in the Vedas, the Vedanta, the Puranas and the Tantra. Manilal, a devotee, asked, "And what about Hatha Yoga?" Master said, "The Hatha Yogis identify themselves with their bodies. They practice internal washing and similar disciplines and devote themselves only to the care of their body. Their ideal is to increase longevity. They serve the body day and night." That's not good. What's your duty? You should renounce lust and gold mentally. You can't look on the world as crowd droppings. The Goswamis are householders. Therefore I said to them, "You have your duties in the temple. How can you renounce the world? You can't explain away the world as Maya." Chaitanya Deva said that the duties of householders were kindness to living beings, service to the Vaishnavas, and the chanting of God's holy name. Keshav Sen once said about me, now he asks us to hold to both God and the world, but one day he will sting us. No, that's not true. Why should I sting? Mani Malik, but sir, you do. Master smilingly said, "How so? You are a householder. Why should you renounce?" But the renunciation of the world is needful for those whom God wants to be teachers of men. One who is an acharya should give up lust and gold, otherwise people will not take his advice. It is not enough for him to renounce only mentally, he should also renounce outwardly. Only then will his teaching bear fruit. Otherwise people will think, though he asks us to give up lust and gold, he enjoys them himself in secret. We shall stop here. Any questions? Coming to Sri Ramakrishna means coming to practical spirituality. Practical spirituality means practicing Vedanta in daily life. Practicing Vedanta in daily life means becoming aware of the Atman, the Divine Spirit in your heart all the time. So if you follow these things meticulously, you will see how things go in a fine way as desired. In a state of how to fight depression. Depression, it comes, but if you deeply think about the depression will increase all the more. So in order to fight the depression, you have to think various methods. One method is analytical approach. Why the depression is coming? What's the reason? In spite of your reasoning, on account of some chemical reaction of the mind, the depression may come. But if you are sufficiently strong, if you assert your strength I mean the spiritual strength, that means if you assert your tremendous faith in God, that will remove the depression. Immediately you should think, well, this depression has come, but Lord has said, my devotee is never perished. So I am the devotee of God, why should I be depressed? And you have to fight it out, apply all methods possible, but you must be heroic in your attempt. Simply lukewarm fight will not help you to get over depression. You have to be very strong in your fight. That means if you are aware of your spiritual strength and if you take positive steps to make your mind strong, then even though the depression comes like clouds, they won't stay. They move on. When they move on, you feel happy. So, depression has got various reasons also. One of the reasons is likes and dislikes. You like to have some things. If it doesn't happen according to your liking, then you feel depressed. So that means you must learn a lesson. What is the lesson? Go beyond likes and dislikes. Raga dvesha viyuktanam, Bhagavan says in the Bhagavad Gita. Raga dvesha, likes and dislikes, you must get rid of them. Both are poisonous. Both are dangerous. Though likings, they look pleasant, but in the end they cause you trouble. The best way is you have to develop a spirit of non-attachment. You be there, you enjoy the things, you participate in the world, you participate in its activities, but at the same time don't get attached. That means you must develop a kind of attitude by which you are not bothered anything that might happen, this way or that way. Of course, it is easy to talk like that as I am talking now. But the truth is that you have to view the things in that fashion. Then, because of your strong discriminative faculty, even that depression, when it comes, it goes away. And as I am telling, what is the root cause of the depression? Likes and dislikes. So I should not encourage likes and dislikes. Keep the likes and dislikes to the minimum. Not to the extent of disturbing you. You like something to do which is not in your limits. And if you feel depressed, why should you unnecessarily involve like that? That means involvement. Because you are involving yourself in things that cause you depression. Because as I said, when you do work, depression comes. For some reason, as I said, because of some reaction of not necessarily of your actions done immediately, but maybe you might have some actions you might have done long time back. The reaction is you are now feeling this moment you are having the depression of the old. And there was one person the other day, he came and he was talking about that. He said that particular person, his daughter was in a terrible state of depression, and the father and mother both, they came with the daughter, and I talked a few minutes. But because she was immersed in that depression, even though I am speaking, telling, clarifying, it is not producing the necessary effect upon her. Still, it was not possible to overcome the depression. But anyway, some relief was there, because I talked, and because of this atmosphere, some relief, but it's very minute, but still she had some relief. They went back. After a period of month or so, the father came here on some occasion, and I asked about how is your daughter, and he said, surprisingly, Swamiji, all the depression is gone. And he said, it was in the horoscope. The period was mentioned. She will pass through the depression state from this period to that period. After that, there will be no trace of depression. And he was so happy to hear that. And he was waiting for that period. And he's amazed to see how it just vanished. That means it won't stay. It has come because of some reason. It goes away. You suffer because you get attached to that. That's the point. Even Arjuna got depression when he was about to fight in the battlefield. When Lord Krishna advised him, gave him spiritual instructions to remove his depression. But once even in spiritual practice, depression will come. You do practice, sometimes your meditation goes well, sometimes your meditation does not go well. One time, Brahmananda ji, one of the Swamiji who is here, the lower altar, he was meditating, he could not meditate. He was a master of meditation, but one day he could not meditate. He's sitting, struggling. Nothing, he's not able to do. He was totally depressed. What is this happening to me? Why this mind is troubling like this? Person of Brahmanji's stature. It so happened Sri Ramakrishna was there, watching him. He just came quietly. He came near him. That Brahman was about to get up from the meditation. He doesn't want to continue. But Sri Ramakrishna intervened there. And he came and touched his head. That moment, all the depression gone. He became his original self, and he had tremendous concentration and meditation, and he was so happy afterwards. It comes in his life. So, hold on to God, hold on to holy scriptures, and as I said, hold on to some good teachings, memorize them, keep them on your front. Whenever anything happens, immediately those ideas should come in front of you, and then you must feel dispassionate. Oh, it's like that, why should I bother? That minimizes the effect of the depression. Anyway, you have to fight the depression. One way of fighting depression is to cultivate hopefulness, the subject which I am talking from the last class. Hopefulness comes through spiritual practice, to continued spiritual practice. That's all. Yes, perfectly all right. Perfectly all right. Thinking of God and doing whatever work you are doing with regard to your children, wife, family, etc. It's perfectly all right. Perfectly all right.
Okay, thanks.
Nothing wrong. Exactly correct. I said it is in this creation all these things do come. I told in my talk, even the saints are not spared. Even they had to pass through the period of depression. Even Vivekananda had to pass through period of depression. But depression, when it comes, it is terrible, no doubt. But if you are spiritually oriented, you can get over that crisis and it will turn out to be better. Because you are learning a lesson through the depression, and you are going to find out what is the cause of this. Probably that is the cause, so because of that it happened. So like that, when you find out the truth, the depression goes away. And it is there. It happens on account of our own manipulation. We do certain things, we think certain things, we act in certain ways, and whatever we do may not be correct, though we think we are correct, because our ego is there. I think whatever I do is correct, whatever I say is correct. Whatever I speak, I think it is perfectly alright. If somebody else speaks, I feel offended. In the same way, I don't think, if I am speaking, I am offending the other man also. If you think both ways, then you feel it's natural, I should not feel hurt. In the same way as he should feel that he should not be hurt. So that kind of mutual development of understanding, mutual understanding helps. Various methods are there to get over the depression. There are many reasons for depression also. Sometimes we create false depression, false. It is not real in a sense. Depression comes because of fear, because of your losing self-confidence, because of your inferiority complex. So all these factors are responsible. Any one of them is enough to bring depression. Any one of them. Somebody talks to you irrelevant, you may be depressed. Oh, he talked to me irrelevant. I got disturbed. You get depression. So that means you are allowing yourself to be depressed quite often because you are not strong enough. You are not built up your strength properly. That is, mental strength must be built up. How do you build up the mental strength? Through spiritual disciplines, practicing. Qualities, virtues. Ego. When you say your ego is identified with the mind is depressed. So you are identified with that. So I am depressed. Okay. So if you separate out, then the depression goes. That's the point. We shall stop. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. O name, stream down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O self, drown deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name that bonds for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge thine is measuredness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue. The playthings of lust or the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Ah, how I long for the day when an instant separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years. When my heart burns with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stealest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.